Well, hello everybody, and welcome. Oh, I've just got an alert in the corner saying I'm live. Gosh golly, isn't that interesting? Right, shake up on screen too. Okay, welcome everybody. My name is Mal Burns, and I'm generally your host here at Inworld Review. This is a program where we come to you broadcast from open simulator worlds, and we connect a bit with the Hypergrid Safari. We look around at all the things happening in virtual worlds. Sometimes panel discussion, sometimes a bit of visiting and talking and everything else. It's been a while since we've been here. I guess autumn is coming in the northern hemisphere, so those have been lounging around in the overly hot sun, really, especially in Italy and here in the UK. Maybe we're back online for a while again. Now it's cooling off. I say we because I'm joined by none other than Thursday Ember, convener of the Safari and all good things, wonderful blogs and everything else. Welcome, Thursday.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Sitting beside me too is my regular tech guy on these things. It's none other than James Atlloud. Welcome, James.
Oh, thank you, Mal. I'm here with a. We're having skin issues on our avatars,
We
and
are indeed,
and
aren't we?
so
Yeah.
Thurza's not appearing as her normal self, and my skin is blurry, and so it looks like I'm frowning, but I'm not frowning. I don't mean to be frowning.
Uh,
I feel like Rosie O'Donnell from that film about baseball, but I'm
Yeah,
good
yeah,
with that. I'm totally happy with that.
yep.
This
I
could be
really,
a
I
whole new look for me.
Yeah, I really like it. I really like it. I found this just in my inventory, oddly enough, in a real emergency here, and because it's all mesh like mine, it means we don't have any lip movement. But otherwise, it's sort of pretty easy to put on, and don't have to worry about too many individual textures. So yeah, we have found a solution. We're presentable, should we say that? It's not
Indeed.
like we're running around in Second Life naked.
We could.
No, we could,
Well,
but we won't.
we could. That happens in Second Life, but
Right, right.
here you don't normally get naked unless you want
We,
to.
we, s- no, yeah,
Yeah, we only get naked when we want to.
That's right.
He says.
exactly. And in world review, probably not.
No, probably not. Well, you never know. Depends who we got
Exactly.
on. I mean, if we get Narvanik and her crowd, but never mind, never mind. Right, let's sort out what I'm doing here. Um, Before we go any further, there's always sort of little bits of incidental news about the hypergrid here. Um, Most of which, if there's a post to be linked to, I actually put on our twitter.com/slash Metaworld News account. And there's a couple from this week. Austin Tate, isn't it? AI Austin, anyway. He actually had a post earlier this week at his blog .inf.ed.ac.uk. Not an easy one to say. Um, but I'm putting this on screen anyway. This is all about using Ready Player Me avatars in Second Life and, of course, OpenSim. And he actually runs you through the process of getting a Ready Player Me avatar, putting it through Blender very quickly. He gives you the routine, and then you can import that avatar into Second Life and or OpenSim, and happily travel across the whole hypergrid with that avatar. It's a slightly different process from the native avatar thing, and it's certainly a very different process from the one we've just come up with, which is whole avatar meshes. But the wonderful thing about making something in Ready Player Me is there are whole masses of virtual world platforms that support it, and you'll just have the same avatar everywhere you go for free. Principally, the worlds that are supported are what we call web worlds. In other words, they're worlds that look like our ordinary virtual worlds, but there may be just one region big, and the simulation is on a web page, so that you can get to it using your normal web browser. But it's very useful to have an avatar like that. Um, in this blog, he gives you a bit of a checklist and of things you can get, including Bento Buddy, which is something that you can use in Blender as part of the conversion. And then he tells you how to use shading, texture painting, etc., etc., to go through preparing it all. I obviously can't summarize all that here, but you've got a wonderful link to follow. As I say,
That's
it's
excellent because that's exactly what we need, isn't it? People are
yeah,
going on complaining all the time, saying everything in OpenSim is stolen from Second Life. You read a lot of comments about that, especially just recently, especially talking about avatars, clothes, and accessories, and you'll have some people claim that everybody else is stealing. And I mean, as the proverb says, a thief always thinks that everybody is dishonest. So it's a bit of an excuse that everything's stolen. Well, this just goes to prove that you don't need to take something from Second Life. You can make things, or you can find things on other websites that are perfectly free and legal.
it's often said that people like thieves, they're like anybody else. They're not going to do something if it's not cost effective. And
Exactly.
it's harder work to nick things. It's not just the nicking; it's a matter of converting them and giving to the people in open source. If it's harder to do that than to create something from scratch, why not? You're on the loss leader. You're not going to make money out
Well,
of
that's true.
super hard work.
Exactly. It's the
You know.
money side of it. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah, it's
agree.
always the money side of it. At the end of the day, follow the money, or whatever they say. Anyway, you'll find this, as I'll go repeat it. Obviously, you can get it on twitter.com, Metaworld News feed, but it's blog dot and then inf dot ed dot ac dot uk. So, okay. Now, very strangely, they may not all be one week, but I think they are. Somebody at hgsafari.blogspot.com has been very busy. Wonder who that can be. Okay. HG Safari, hgsafari.blogspot.com, and all the next 4 posts are all from the same place. And the author is sitting right beside me here. Well, she's sitting opposite me, but that's just as well. Noise please,
Author is
Lauren
looking
Tone.
good.
But Lauren Tone we've had on this show in the past. He's great with sound, isn't it? I'm really glad to see you doing these blogs actually, because they're not short. Well, they're not long either, but they're as a regular thing, it's as much fun as reading these as I do as going on safari, Yeah, tell me about this. Lauren, of course, is about
He
sound.
is the nicest man on
Yeah,
the planet. He's just a lovely, lovely, lovely person, and focuses all his attention on sound. That's his thing, and so he obviously was very active and still is somewhat active in Second Life. He has a presence there. He sells or gives away, I don't quite know, his sounds in Second Life. Anyway, he's busy there too. But he has moved to alternate metaverse grid, which is Cataplexia's grid, as you probably know. And over there he has put a shop with all his sounds, so you can find sounds for, I don't know, a lion and a helicopter and farm equipment, whatever sound you need, he's got it there. It's a huge collection. And what he does is, above and beyond that, he does a class. He does it twice a month, and it teaches you about how to do sounds. First of all, how to bring sounds into Second Life, into OpenSim if you want to bring them in. All the strategies that he's learnt over the years. And then also, how long can a sound bite be? Most of us would think, well, we know that you can only import 10 seconds of sound into virtual worlds. That's not actually true, it turns out. You can import longer pieces. But then his course
you can chain
explains
them.
whether...
Sorry, you can
Yeah,
chain them.
exactly. But his course explains exactly the method to use to get the optimum results from sound. And I really recommend it. I was there with Chris McCracken, and he said a very interesting thing. He's a builder, and he knows Lauren very well. He said, I come back more than once because the course is so full of information. You
Yeah.
just literally it's not that he doesn't explain it very well. He does, but it's just a lot to take in. So it really is worth attending more than once. Anyway,
I
they're on
see.
Sundays and twice a month, so plenty of opportunities.
I see in the first paragraph of this interview, sort of mentioning the difference between things that aren't really heard but felt, and
Exactly.
other sounds that are like hugely important because they're providing the focus for something. So, yeah, a real range of ways you can do that. We've had him on this show a long time in the past, and
You should have him
again,
again. He's
I
really
can
nice.
I can vouch for what you say because back some years ago now, I had I think I had about 8 regions on the Great Canadian Grid. And he did loads of sounds for me there. Everything from the birds in the woods and the waves in the sea. In fact, so, I don't know where the ones I got from him, but there's if you were in World with our studio now, if you were here for real, you would actually hear the waves crashing on the beach behind us and the birds up in the sky.
Oh,
So,
I hear those things. I bring
yeah,
those
yeah,
on
I
the
hear them
show.
too. I've
Yep.
just got them muted for the show. But yeah, it can make so much difference because it helps that thing of feeling where you're there.
Exactly.
We talk about immersion, and you stand in a desert. Well, have a bit of wind maybe, but yeah, you stand by a beach. Now, if you don't hear waves lapping and seagulls overhead, you're aware that it's like a cartoon recreation. Now, you're never going to get out of that, although photorealism has come a long way. But the moment you start hearing the sounds, you know, you're transported to the sounds of that place. And they are very real because they're often recorded for in situ. Yeah. So, wonderful
That's
stuff.
right. It adds a dimension. It really does. And the trick with Lauren is I mean, we all know that's true about sound, but when you go on his course, he shows you by example.
Yeah,
So I have to admit, most of the time when I'm rushing around, I don't have the sounds on too much because I'm looking for somebody who
I know.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
catch up with or organize something. So I miss out quite often on the sound. But just going on his course and taking the time and just sitting quietly and listening to the sound and him explaining it, it's just brilliant. Even if you don't have big plans to do building, you will learn a lot. It's really worth doing.
Wonderful. Well, we must get him back on this show at some point, actually. So, yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to be covering quite a lot here. Yeah, I'm scrolling down the blog here, which is again hgsafari.blogspot.com, and as you can see, this interview just goes on and on. And oh, you've got the Earl there too. Alternatemetaverse.com, 8002 port, and then the region is Soundscape. If you want to visit his store. And yeah, I remember I hosted one of his stores once, probably a great Canadian. So it's nice to actually see his boxes and things. And, you've got he can sell you or give you, I'm not sure which, a box of animal sounds, but also I've actually think now I'm looking at this picture, he probably has a box of tiger sounds, bear sounds, and dog sounds as separate entities these days. So
Exactly, and it's all free, of course, because it's on Alternate Metaverse. So
yeah,
lovely free gift.
yeah. I shall have to go and bequeath a couple of sounds to the rabbits and the cat on the stage next door. Then we'll have real fun, won't we, James?
What sound does a rabbit make? I'm not sure.
I don't know, but if there is one, I'm sure Lawrence found it. Yeah, I know what the cat makes already. I've got a hub for that, but it's on a different platform. So yeah, that's where I am a cat. Indeed. Ew. Right. Okay. Well, as I said, same site here, hgsafariblogspot.com. A couple more blogs. I think they were all this week, but or in the last couple of weeks anyway. This one is Suarez Franco. Now, of course, you mentioned to me earlier on that you will probably mention the. Uh, what's happening basically with the Franco grid. So, well, explain. Here's the blog. Tell us a little bit about what's going on. Eden.
So what's happened is that you probably remember Vladimir Janovic. When the safari came to a close in 2018, Vladimir, who's French, he decided he wanted to continue the same idea. And so he began a series of trips. They used to go pretty much every week. and it was all the Frenchies would go, and they would mostly go to French places or francophone places. And they had a great time. I went on the one to the zoo, and I really enjoyed it. It was super fun. It's all in voice, and it gets filmed. The whole experience is filmed by Prodic, so he puts that on Twitch, and you can find the links in the article. So it's a really fun thing. The trouble was that sadly, Vladimir had some issues, health issues and whatnot, and his grid went offline. And he had been so much the organizing force behind it that the weekly trips also came to an end. So, but the Frenchies didn't want to lose each other. It's pretty much of a diaspora, the French population. Some are in Oz grids, some are in, they've got their own mini grids, but they're kind of spread out in a not very homogenous way. So how could they get back and find each other again? That was the question. So they did two things. One is that you can find them on Discord. They have a channel, and I put the link in this post. And the other thing is that they decided before the summer that they wanted to start having a French event, but nobody was available to organize it weekly, but they decided they could do it monthly. So the first Thursday in each month, they meet. And again, the link is, the address is in the article, and you can join them. And they are going to have a bit of a chit chat and then go and see something. I think they're going to Africa.
I love what you put in this second paragraph. The trips are a bit different from safari. Frenchies make good use of voice, so if your French is not great, be ready for a bit of, I love this phrase, linguistic tsunami.
Well, yeah.
Is that your expression? It's great.
That's my personal experience.
Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else, but just
I
be prepared.
You find that on safari and other things. You know, if what you politely call the Frenchies are around, they do gab a bit.
Oh no, I mean they're having a great time, and that's super. If you can keep up with it. If you can keep up with it, more power to you. But if you can't, just be aware that this is going to be your experience. But I mean, you can just let it wash over you. Who cares? You know, I mean, they're also kind. You know, they're not talking about you. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh no, if you eavesdrop as best you can, it's often a good way to pick up a little bit of that language.
Exactly. You learn the language. It's a good way to learn. Why
it's
not?
Like I used to read,
and they're so lovely.
I used to read a lot of comic strips, bande dessinées they're called in France, and you know, at first I didn't understand them. I just admired the art and sort of what I was following. But slowly but surely, you pick up the language just because it's in front of you. Oh, that was repeated twice. It must mean, you know.
Well, it's like not only that. The thing is, the Frenchies have some of the best regions. If you like really high quality builds. They really are a bit unbeatable. I mean, there are some good other people who are out there, but I mean, if you want to look for consistently beautiful builds, you know, that's the way to go. Serenity Grid. I mean, there's Mont Saint-Michel there. It just blows you away. Anything that's on Ignis Fatuus, you've seen it. We've all seen it on Safari. It's just like on another level. And not only them, other grids too. So there's all this beautiful artwork, and they focus on that. They also go to the Canadian, of course, our lovely friends there, Kelso and Debishi. They go there, see their builds, again, very high quality. And so it's an opportunity to see, if you know, obviously Safari is limited. We can only see so many things and so many different things. And so this is an opportunity to meet up with folks and do something. And it's the first Thursday of every month. So it's very simple to remember. And super fun it's going to be. I think they're going to see Afra the next one on the next Thursday in October. They'll be going to see Afra's builds. She's got a lovely grid too.
Believe it or not, I just copied that poster so that I can show it again, because I can't find where it went. So I'll sort that out for another day. Right, okay. So back to the web view. Okay, let's. Oh yes, here's their Discord channel at the bottom. Well, I won't read those out, but if you go to hgsurvive.blogspot.com, you can see that poster there and follow the links on the page. Moving down, same site, of course. This is virtual Spain. Moving on from France, and this is in OS Grid, of course.
Well, this was a big shock to me because I was not expecting to see this or write about it. And it is these lovely, lovely, lovely Spanish people who were actually on a grid that I'm not going to name, which is based in Latin America. Let's put it that way. And it has a bit of a reputation.
Is that a yo-yo?
I'd rather not say.
I think
Anyway,
I think it's the yo-yo grid. Good luck searching for that.
I think you. Let's not even say. Anyway, these people basically they were on this grid because mainly for the reason because it was a Spanish-friendly grid, Spanish and Portuguese. So if those are your languages, life was really easy because you don't need to know much English because pretty much everything is in your language. So to leave that grid with its rather unsavory reputation is really quite difficult. So these people have had the idea to set up a sort of a welcome area on OSGrid, OS Grid as you call it, so that any Spanish people or even Portuguese people who want to kind of escape, if you like, or at least sample the other aspects of OpenSim, they can do it by coming to OS Grid, and they'll find avatars, and there'll be clothes, and there'll be hints and tips and ways to find other people of their language. It's a really, really super idea. Poor people. I showed up and it was their first day of building the place, but they were really kind to me. They stopped work. They all came together and they told me all about it. So
they probably thought she's on the ball here on the first day.
I know. I felt bad after, but they were just so lovely. I can't wait to go back and see what they've done with it. And they'll have they're planning on having a Facebook page too, which will make it really easy for people to connect via social media too.
And I recognise quite a few of these names up top: Gina Bay, Zona Capellini, and Zirana.
Yeah, we do have a lot of Spanish. We have a lot of Spanish, as it says, they're legends in OpenSim, if you think about it, because, Tina is like a goddess of making things wonderful, just unbelievable, and Victoria too. And so you've got these wonderful people. But they've had to really, if you think about it, really work very hard to overcome. OpenSim is difficult enough. If English is not even really your second language, it's a million times tougher. And if you don't have a community that sustains you and helps you, then it's very discouraging. So it's a brilliant idea to help people, have opportunities, have options. And they don't all have to stay on a grid that has a name that a lot of people don't like.
Yeah, for sure. No, that is a wonderful thing.
I'm still not going to name.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful thing. And, well, of course, let's blow our own trumpet here a little bit. Of course, it's kind of a few years ago now when we did the Hypergrid Expo event. We had Italian, I'm going to forget now, French, Italian, German, and Spanish strands. Was it Spanish?
We did, yeah.
Yeah. So, recognizing basically, 4 half days and 4 different European languages, and complex multiple group memberships, for the translations and stuff. But it worked really well. I think we should be.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
I think we should be both really proud of what we did there. I don't know how we did it.
Maybe we'll do it again. Who knows?
Yeah, I still get people.
If ever we get drunk enough, we can do it again.
I still occasionally get messages for people wanting to join a Facebook group or a Google group or something, for that. So even now, you still get people. Can I join the International Expo group or something? So, no,
Well, there's definitely call out there for it because it isn't. OpenSim should be international if you think about it. Really, there's no reason why it shouldn't be.
Okay, I can't quite scroll to the bottom here. So before we move on. If you want to visit virtual Spain, the obviously you can go and read this blog from Persa, but the address is hg.osgrid, that's osgrid dot org, and then colon, and then port 80, and then another colon, and virtual space Spain. So, another one to look for. Right, now talk about hypergridding, the soul of hypergridding. Da, 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 da. Spike, soul, and soul. Are these supposed to connect?
Actually, isn't that interesting? I never thought about that because Spike's name is Sol for the sun,
Yeah.
because Spike is a big fan of astronomy and had on his grid he had a fantastic. If you left the hypergrid hub and went upstairs, you could find a huge, amazing build all about the sun and other planets and other stars, which was really amazing. I don't think too many people saw it because you kind of just go for the portals and you don't realize there's more in the build. But no, this is Soul Grid, which is relatively new grid. It's Rudy and Nasty have this grid, the Bacalese, and they built this wonderful
Let
thing.
me just check it. It's called Solaton. Yeah, the grid, yeah?
Well, Solaton was the original grid that belonged to Spike, but that went offline because with the COVID and everything, it was just too much. So that sadly, after I should think about 8 or 9 years, that just is definitively offline.
Right, I needed to.
But Soul Grid, Soul, is the new grid that belongs to this couple, the Bacalese, and it's just beautiful. Nasty is a very beautiful artist. She made all her regions are very lovely, and together with Rudy, they've built this. It's a tribute to Spike's idea, and it really works. It's very simple to find your way around, and anybody who wants to be involved in it should just contact him because there's plenty of space for more portals. He'd be happy to have them.
Spike himself is this German?
Spike is German, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a homage to his Welsh. I love Spanish. Sorry, German words. You know, 20 English words jammed into one, and you can't read them. Weltraubbahnhof or something. Well, never mind. Yeah, it looks absolutely great. I like the way you've obviously done those GIF things here. So they look like sort of small movies, and God, they're colourful, aren't they? That one, for example.
That's Nasty. She's just such a clever artist. She's got some lovely regions on the grid that are worth visiting. So don't only go for this sim, go for all of it because it's just lovely.
Okay. Well, another long review there, but let's move on. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's all four of them, isn't it? Sort of hypergridding. Okay, well, you have been writing quite a bit at hgsafariblogspot.com. These ones are just sort of latest ones on the twitter.com hypergrid news feed. Obviously, if you scroll down that feed, you can go way back and see a load of other little essays.
Well, I was really lucky this summer. Cherry Manga agreed to let me write about her, and previous to this,
great.
there were three posts because hers is a 15-year career so far, just beginning really in virtual worlds, and she was super. She let me have all kinds of resources, and loads of people contributed their thoughts and comments and memories of her working with them, and she did a great job in her career does a great job in showing how you can be in Second Life and in OpenSim and not really compromise on either side, because she is just as famous in OpenSim as she is in Second Life. Yeah. And she is just as active, and her work is so memorable that people love to see different artworks in a different context. So she's always moving forward, with her art, but it has this strong identity that is just very beautiful. So
Yeah,
it was
I love
just a
that.
joy working with her on
Yeah.
those articles. I loved it.
I love her work too. Sort of, if you could, and so distinctive. Every time you come across one, you
Yes,
think,
exactly.
that's Cherry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And I got some great comments like Save Me O, who obviously is a big friend of Cherry's. She's like, the only thing wrong with this is you're not writing about me. You shouldn't be writing about Cherry. Her art is rubbish, you know. So there's a bit of humor in there. And but everybody that I spoke to had lovely things to say. So it was just really nice to reconnect with some old friends back in Second Life and get hold of all kinds of people in Open Sim who cherish. Not she's not just a great artist. Everybody loves her, and that's rare because it's very easy to have people all be jealous of you or not like you for one reason or another, and we've
yeah,
all experienced that. But it just so much genuine affection for her, and it all came down to generosity. She's always, if you ask her to help, she helps you, and that's really lovely. It was a great tribute to her as a person as well as an artist.
yeah, wonderful. Okay, before we move on to, you have some other pictures to show that you have in World here, for example. Um, I'm actually just going to show, because I can finish on this list, as it were. I've got a clip here called Bridge Building, which was an example. It's a building open sim. I'm not actually sure where, unless you can remember it when you see it. But it's an example. Somebody's used OpenSim to actually demonstrate the way bridges were built in medieval, almost prehistoric times. And there's another little clip here which features a grotto with this is Fred Buckhausen's Dragon and Egret. I haven't got the whole title. Fred's Dragon and Egret. I don't know. Let's show you bridge building first. It's sort of, it's almost an educational build, this, but it's well done. And press play, of course. I just love the way they're using the Inworld tools to literally show how it would have been built also in reality.
That's outstanding. I just love it.
Oh, and that's it. Never mind. Yeah, so great
How
example.
beautiful.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
example. And this one is Fred's Dragon. I guess we all know Fred Beckhausen. So I don't know who posted this now. These are actually clips I've had around for the InWorld Review for quite a while. It's so long since we've done a show, I forget what they were, but let's have a look. Oh, this is silent, so I guess we can talk over it. Yeah, oh, this is odd. 4 minutes of... Oh, okay. Well, I guess this is lovely to look at. There's not much happening in the camera, though. There's various critters hopping around here. I'll do a bit of fast forwarding. Just oops, not fast forward. That's the wrong button.
That's beautiful. Look at that, the bird.
Oh, here we are. It's moving a bit. Yeah. Now we're going somewhere. It is lovely, isn't it? I think this is one of Fred's creations. Dragon and Egret. So presumably it's an OAR file that you can grab from his OpenSim. I forget the name. It's first site offhand.
Outworlds.
Outwards, that's it, with a Z, isn't it? Yeah.
That's right.
But it's just a lovely piece of film. No sound. Yeah, but, well, there's an example of where we should get Lauren in. Let's have that waterfall falling.
Well, I
But
expect there are sounds. You just didn't pick them up because
yeah, I just love
somebody
this.
didn't
Oh,
pick
look at
them up.
that little seal wobbling. He's getting ready to jump in. I don't know whether he ever does, but it's just that nature thing. I know in Second Life, which we don't talk about, of course. Of course, we don't.
Sure, we do.
They've just finished having this nature con, I think it was called, and from what I've been able to see, from clips and things like that, some lovely stuff there. Nice to see, in a you know, all the builds, the whole thing was to make things as naturalistic as possible. And this is the sort of thing, you know, in that same ilk, you know. I think that bunny rabbit looks like a relative of the one I've got on my news desk.
Yeah.
Certainly got the bouncing right. Oh, and there's actually, is that a mermaid in the water there? Or just a human swimming? Bottom right. It's not probably that easy to tell. But yeah, nice sort of animations, I guess. Oh, moving away. Yeah, it's got a good 5 minutes of this here. I wish we could tell you where this is. It's rather wonderful. But yeah. So let's do some talking over this. So we'll move on to Safari in a minute. But of course, this Wednesday will be the first of a new season of Safari. So maybe tell us a bit about that. There's, we have Maria Koloff, I believe, an old friend of this. Well,
We hopefully, you know me, I hate to say what we're going to do because the minute I say it, then everybody starts canceling or
yes.
grids go offline, Sims don't work anymore, there's a bug, and nobody can hypergrid anymore. So, but I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. So we have a great opener. That's Maria. She's going to come and talk to us about OpenSim and about her career. A lot of people don't know that Maria opened her famous Hypergrid business website basically the day that Hypergrid began to be a thing.
Yeah.
Back in April 2009, she was like on the ball totally. And so it's super interesting to talk to her about it. She has such a long history, not only in using the hypergrid or being aware of the hypergrid, but in understanding how it connects us and can connect us in a commercial sense as well, and make a community that has all kinds of different levels of operation. Not just going to visit an empty place, but sort of connecting with other individuals. So not just tourism, but community in a sort of a one-to-one level. So super interesting. And also about her books. I don't know if you know that she's written 3 books.
Well, yeah,
the Crim series.
Yeah, and more to the point, actually. Well, I got them on Amazon, I think, or she sent me them. She's also got a science fiction site called Metastellar, which, well, I know she actually sent a thing to our conference a couple of days ago saying she wants to do a session about that. I don't know how connected to OpenSim it is, but it's a good site. Oddly enough, I was actually kind of involved with that site at the very beginning with this, and you know, I was going to be interviewing some of her science fiction authors and things, but it collided with Sundays. And of course, Sundays is where I am now. So, but it's quite an interesting site. You know, she's got, as time's gone by, she's got various sci-fi authors involved. She's got a core team, but she does these sort of Zoom call-like interviews with authors. And
yeah.
So
obviously we only have a limited time, so we're going to probably focus more on her in-world interests because obviously that's more interesting to the group. But obviously, you know, we only have 50 minutes or so of useful time, so I'm hoping that people come up with questions, and I certainly have a lot of questions to ask her about her views about OpenSim and what's going on. So that'll be what we get to do on the first hour, and the second hour we get to do something that is really fun, and that is to go back to Creanovale, where we've all been. Many times in the past, and see their wonderful summer build. And there's a submarine ride, and there's an underwater swimming thing that you can do. It's just really fun. So just to check out, if you're interested in scripting and getting scripting as seamless and as smooth as possible, then this is for you, because it's just brilliant fun the way it's been put together. Lovely.
Okay, well, while we're talking, I've just moved on to another clip I've got here. I've muted the sound because they're all gossiping in French. And this one actually you sent me. It's actually a 30-minute film, and it's in French, so obviously we're not going to go with it. But you have a context for this, and it's called Temp Fort, Open Sim Region, West Lorient sur la Grille Belge Vibel. I recognise the Vibel.
All right,
I
which means
recognise West Lorient.
top four just means the highlights. It's the
Right.
highlights of the Frenchies visiting Vibel, which is Roland's grid.
Yeah.
It's a Belgian grid. And in fact, we're going to be going to this build, but we're going on the anniversary of the publication of the 3rd volume of The Lord of the Rings, which is The Return of the King. We're going to be going to
Right.
visit this very same sim on that day. It's a special anniversary event of anything. If you hate Lord of the Rings, do
Don't
not come with us that day. Do not
It looks
come.
like
You're
they
going
had
to
the same
absolutely
problems
scream.
as we had in the studio here, all these grey blobs. But yeah, that should be good. And of course, how about when's that? A couple of weeks' time from now, is it?
That's in October.
Right. Because they,
The end of
of course,
October.
Amazon have this new Lord of the Rings prequel thing running, which is getting.
Yeah, I've seen a bit of that.
I love it. It's getting quite a lot of acclaim too. They're, it's not Hobbit stuff, but it's, it's very well made, and it's the Tolkien feel, which I think is important. So. Yeah. Well, I'll let that. Let that run. What do you want to do next? Do you want to show your pictures that you've brought and talk over them,
Sure.
or are there any other things? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put this on pause. Yeah, so that it's there if we want to come back to it while we're talking later, and I'll switch this over so that basically we have a screen in the studio here which you were controlling. So we can look at some of those pictures and talk us through them.
Okay.
So click away, as they say. I'll leave you to
I'll
it.
do it. Yeah.
I'll
So
let
as
it.
I said, I usually hate to show what's going to come up in upcoming weeks in the safari because usually everything goes wrong if I do that. But I'm going to just be brave this time and show you a few of the things. Anybody ever played World of Warcraft
I've heard
or
of
been
it.
anywhere near
Yep.
it? If you have,
Yep.
you will know the city of Dalaran, which is the big deal city. And Wendy Blackthorne, who is just a lovely lady over on Kinky Haven, she and her team, I think there's only 3 or 4 of them, so it's really amazing work. They have built the city and all kinds of features that come up in World of Warcraft.
Oh, right.
So really, whether you know the game or you don't, you're going to love it because as you can
Oh,
see, this
yeah.
is another picture. It's just
Did you say
outstanding
that?
mesh.
Did you say this is called Kinky Haven?
Kinky Haven is the name of the grid, yeah. I
It's
mean, they're
it's
kinky, but they're nice. So,
Yeah, no. It's just like it just seems funny to have a grid called Kinky Haven, and there's
Well,
something that's insulting
it
as
does
well.
what it says on the tin, that's
Yeah, fair
their
enough.
deal.
Fair enough. Yeah,
And but you don't have to be kinky to go there. I
that's
mean,
lovely.
we don't know.
Lovely architecture there.
The
Yeah.
jury is out about whether or not you're kinky, Mal, and we're not going to try and find out what the jury says.
Sounds
Anyway, yeah, it's a.
your definition of kinky, doesn't it? I do like Ray Davis and the Kings.
Oh, there you go then. Anyway,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
so
yeah.
much. I couldn't even begin to show you everything that's here. There's
No,
all
great
kinds of
architecture.
sound effects. There's all kinds of things to. There's all kinds of. There's the passages. There's a sewer. There's the prison block, which is, I guess, a big deal in the World of Warcraft story where you fight with animals. I don't know if there's actually animals there yet, but I'm sure they'll get them eventually. Anyway, it's just very beautiful. If you like architecture, if you like the history of video games, this is just a wonderful place. And we're going there in a couple of weeks, later on this month. I think it's September the 28th. Anyway, this is one of the great destinations we're going to. This instead is the Japanese build. which is another really, really lovely place. This is Kashi's place, Kashi Takeshi, which many people will know that name very well. He's another very nice man. He has a grid of his own. It's called Virtual World Zone, and it hosts all kinds of really amazing builds. But this is Kashi's place, and it's a build that is it's really just all about Japan, and there's loads of architecture. It's very walkable. There are NPCs or animation or NPCs, figures, Japanese figures. There's a Zen garden. There's a tea room, and it's just very beautiful.
You know, in
And
the last season we went to, I remember filming. I had some film with something Japanesey, I think.
yeah, that's right. That's on Discovery Grid. That's Gillian's
Right.
place.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is less historically precise, but it's just very beautiful. And he's just such a pleasant person to be around. You'll love it.
Yeah.
And then the next one is, this is the week when we go and we do everything Lord of the Rings. This is
Oh,
Hobbiton,
it's on.
as you
Yes.
can see. And Hobbiton is, I think, is 5 different areas, if I'm not mistaken. There's Bree, there's Hobbiton, like this bit. There's Rivendell. There's a piece that is like Rohan, out in the where the horses are, and there's another one I can't remember. Anyway, and it's all. This is it's not by Fred. It's by another guy, but Fred got hold of this build, and
Ah,
he and Joe Builder, and of course
okay,
Fred's
so
partner Debbie, and a bunch of other people, I guess, all worked really hard to, make it perfect, and it really is, because you can go inside the little houses, and then there's Gandalf. He's riding around on a cart, and you can get on the cart and ride around, and this is just
I
1/5 of.
believe, I
It's
believe
just
that you
fun.
can, yeah, if you, I believe that you can actually get the OAR file for the whole thing off.
Yes,
The,
yeah.
so,
At the
you know,
beginning,
you can
there's
actually
a.
live in this pre-built environment. You know, it's gorgeous.
Yes, you can get hold of the whole thing. I mean, this is classic Fred, that he buys something and then he gives it away. That's just, and this is the same build, but this is a different section of it. And there's the city. Can you see? It's very beautiful. There's
Yeah.
like the city with the men with the horses and all that stuff. Anyway, if you like Lord of the Rings, you're going to love it. And again, very big, very walkable. Obviously, we don't have time probably to see everything, but we'll see a bit of it. And people can then come back and see what they want. And then the same day, we go here, which I don't know if you see it yet, but this is West Lorient, and this is that Belgian build by Roland Francis. And again, this is very elfin. And Roland is just the same. Loads of stuff free that you can copy. He's very laid back. He's sort of a
Oh,
mini.
actually, yeah, actually, no, Roland. I'm confusing him for a
He's
second.
just a super
Roland
guy.
McGrath is another one in Belgium. Yeah, didn't we
And I
see that?
think
Didn't we see that? Oh, I think you had the similar photo of that on your blog.
probably.
I'm not. Yeah, yeah. The build. I recognise the building as well. Ah, right. Not this.
And then for contrast, we're going to go and see Nick's Breed. Nix is a real-life photographer, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, based in Boston. Superman, super artist in real life, and a fantastic artist in virtual worlds. He is incredibly well known in Second Life, NYX, Nix Breen, and he has moved over here to OpenSim. He's on alternate metaverse grid with Clifford and Cataplexia.
That grid's
And
getting a lot of people on it. Interesting people, that is.
because it works, that's why.
Oh,
Because Clifford works really hard. Everything's really fantastic. I love it. And anyway, so he has this huge, I don't even know how big the region he has. Some kind of, I don't know if it's 4x4 or what. Anyway, his art is always huge. And if you could see a person in there, they'd be like miniature in that picture. And this is part of it. And it goes up into the sky, thousands and thousands of meters. But if you go to the ground level, Never neglect the ground level on his sim, because there's loads of art on the ground level. There's dance places, there's a beach, and it's very beautiful, even if you go down below. But most of the art is up in the sky, and he's planning to show us his art. I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, that's at the end of October, 26th of October. And then after that, we're gonna go to OS Grid. We're gonna go and see this build, which I think I wrote about a few weeks ago. This is by Az, and with Danger Lytton, who we all know and love. And it's called the Dewdrop Islands, and it's very lovely. It's kind of funny. There's loads of humor in the build. This picture doesn't show it, but there's like crazy snails and things like that. Here's the view from the sky. As you can see, the islands are down below, but also up in the sky,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
it's very walkable.
Yeah.
And of course, with a great EEP, as you can see, with the planet Jupiter in the sky.
Yeah.
Those EEPs really make the builds nowadays.
Tell me about them. They're like, so in other platforms we call them skyboxes, don't we?
What? How
Unlike
do you
the
mean?
skybox we're used to, which is a region in the sky, but you're talking about the surround, aren't you?
Yeah,
Planet,
it's an actual sky. It's like the evolution. It's like the next step from Windlight.
yeah.
These EEPs, but you can make them. I mean, Cherry makes them and gives them away. They are not. I mean, I don't want to say they're not hard to make, but they are makeable by just average
Yeah.
people. And as you can see, you can get some incredible
And it,
effects.
and they can be animated too, of course, if I'm right, can't
I
they?
think so. Yeah.
So you have the planets actually move in the sky above you.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. And so this is on OS Grid, and this one, which is the next picture, is another thing I'm really looking forward to. So this is like the coming together of two great things. If you've ever seen like the architecture of Frank Lloyd Wright,
I just the building in
um,
the background, yeah, it's missing a few textures, but it's distinctly him, isn't it? Or inspired by Van Lloyd Wright.
so
Falling Water is a name, isn't that an actual name of a real Van Lloyd Wright?
and a copy of this is by Cameron Darkstone and by Walter Balazek, who we all know from Littlefield Grid.
Right.
And this build, I think Cameron made it back in the day when they were still on Second Life, and they brought it here to Littlefield, to OpenSim, and very kindly have agreed to let us see it. But not only will we see the build, but M. Jannings, the voice artist, he's going to do a reading for us about Frank Lloyd Wright and the philosophy of his art, and some poetry of, I think, Walt Whitman. He's going to read. So to sort of contextualize the build at a pretty good high level of artistic merit. And of course, the build is just unbelievably good. It's so precise. If you go there without the group, that's fine, because you'll see that the visit is there's a self-guiding trail that explains the house to you, and it's very, very accurate build, just beautiful, and I'm so looking forward to it. I didn't know if we were going to be able to do this. I really hope that nothing happens between now and when we're due to go.
Fingers
I should
crossed. Touch wood. Yes.
cross everything, guys. And so that's coming up, and so that'll be a great build, and that's actually our last week. It's the first half of the last week. The final safari will be here, which is by Joe Builder, and it's on Galaxy Wars Grid, which you may not have heard of, but it's Joe's place, and there's he's got it's it's very Star Warsian place, and it's Jabba the Hutt on steroids. So there's loads of Star Wars figures. There's this huge room where we'll have a party, And if you cam out, you can see next door, there's this room, which is the portal room. And if you look very closely, you can see Jabba the Hutt in yellow around the middle of the picture. He's down on the level below this. And all these portals lead to builds by Joe.
These animation or NPCs, I guess.
Some of them moved and some of them didn't. I think some of them are just static figures and some move, which probably just...
that it feels very spacious, that build as well.
it's
Which is
huge.
I didn't know that one.
Oh,
It's insanely huge, and you can actually go outside and fly around the building. There is a bunch of spaceships that you can just hop on and fly around if you get bored of dancing, and just fly around. So there's no shortage of things to do.
Yeah, lots of science fiction builds don't have that spatial thing where you can have all these characters as if they're in one place. So, but they often, the spaceships and things like that, they always feel a bit crammed. I suppose.
But Joe is just very good at building. I mean, his name is Joe Builder. That should tell you something. And he manages to make it. It's big, but it doesn't feel so big that you're lost.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoy, because you can understand what you're looking at immediately with the portals and everything. But as you say, it's a huge build. And again, he many Sims. And this is where we're going to end up for our last week. On top of all these 10 weeks, we do have a Halloween special on the 31st of October, which will be to go to Ange Marge's build with Nanny Ferguson, and they're making a build for Halloween, and so we'll do that. But that'll be a special event on the 31st of October, because I couldn't fit them in anywhere else. We had to have a special.
You might as well fit them in on Halloween. Unlike
exactly. At the end of the day, I said, might as well just do it on the day. Why not?
Platform we all know and love. Halloween seems to start in July. I don't know what it is about people in that world, but they really push the Halloween to the limits. Start 3 months before and probably end up in the next year. But I guess people like building spooky.
Well, it's a money-making thing, isn't it, for a lot of people?
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, so if anybody's interested in I should just say, this is just a handful of the places we're going to. We're going to a lot of other places apart from these. We're going to a Welsh build. We're going to Replicant City. We're going to Afra's place. Bibiana has invited us to come and see her plant shops on OS Grid. We're also hopefully going to Copycat Grid if it comes back online, which has been off, so we're hoping, crossing fingers on that one. We're going to the Senderlonda Library, which is on DigiWorlds, and we're going to the Art Factory, which is on OS Grid again. We've been invited to go and see the Nuna Art Museum, which is one of the best art museums you'll ever see anywhere, including Second Life. It's just an unbelievable collection of world art. It's the history of world art in one building, just amazing. And we're going to Asgard Grid as well, which will be fun because you get to understand their community, which is a unusual and very pleasant group of people. So loads and loads and loads of things happening. The message is, if you're interested in having the safari come to visit, please let me know, because I'm really happy to book you for the 2023 season, which begins in January. And yeah, I'm already booking that. January, February are already starting to be booked up. So please get in touch, because I really enjoy bringing the group there.
Great. So, have we got anything else directly to go? I've actually switched. I'm showing on the center screen now the video. This is actually, it's only 8 minutes. I must have got this wrong. I have 3 films from DigiWorld, in fact, part 1, 2, and 3 of a solstice event they held. Were you at this at all? Did you catch this?
I missed that one, yeah.
It must have been something that would have, so did I, although I've been looking at these, pictures. It would have been, video, in fact. It would have been an ideal safari stop, actually.
Yeah, the Summer of Art thing they did, yeah. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get to that.
hopefully, well, as I say, 3 parts of this together are actually going to come to about 40 minutes, I believe. So I'm not going to show them now, but at some point we must maybe have a look at this and chat about it. I don't know who put it on, so I know DigiWorld's obviously, but whether it was the DigiWorld's team or whether it was a resident there, I'm not sure. But it looks sort of really nice. So, yeah.
Oh, it's a beautiful grid, and they have a lovely community over there.
Yeah. Yeah, they of course were pretty closely involved with the Great Canadian Grid at the beginning, but they've gone their sort of separate
Oh,
way.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Well, it's Terry Ford, isn't it? DigiWorld. Oh, I've got that right. I've got so long since then, and he used to be the tech guy for the Great Canadian Grid in its first incarnation.
Oh, I see.
But I gather, there was a bit of a. I think basically he was focused on launching DigiWorlds to the detriment of Great Canadian Grid, so they sort of went their separate way. Well, it is awkward, you can be the tech master for somebody, but the moment you think, oh, well, I can do this too, your value to the person you're working for is not quite so great, is it? But yeah, lovely stuff. This I'd like to visit, and yeah. I don't think I need to film more. The film of this is wonderful already. Right, okay, well, I'll keep it playing for a second there. Was there anything else to say about the French, the Vibel one that we were working through a minute ago? Is that one of our
Well,
best?
as I say, we are planning to go there in October, but it's a lovely. I mean, it's open all the time, so it's worth visiting. And there you go. Very pretty.
All right. Well,
Lots of freebies.
I've now got a famous wheelie on my desktop. When I can't do anything, so that's good timing. I can't operate my desktop temporarily. I think I need to. Oh, actually, it is bad news. I'll have to quit it later, but at least that's okay for now. Right, okay. So I'll stop fiddling here and putting stuff on screen. I think we're about ready to round up, aren't we? It's been great to see you. We've covered the destinations coming up in the new safari season, so we've given everybody that. Last time you were here, I think we were on the other screen looking through the. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to mention. We were looking at the Open Sim Fest, locations, and we featured quite a few of them, which that chap had been filming for them during the course of that.
Yes, Michael McHugh.
That's it. And I've got in a separate folder here part 2, which is all the other ones we didn't get round to. But of course,
there's a million.
So many weeks have passed now. I mean, unless we do a special reflecting on that, well, I'll archive those clips so we have them. But yeah, well, I think that's last time you were here. We did a big feature on that, and also a load of people watched the film as well. Partly, I think, because we put a big screen with the show on the Open Sim grounds, so maybe they were clicking on now, which accounted for some very large volume of viewers. Hopefully, this show will get a few too. We'll have to make sure we publicise it. Great. Anything else? Well, actually, first of all, James, I'll bring you in. Any questions or comments for Thursday or whatever?
Oh no, just I'm really looking forward to the season of Safari. This is really thrilling.
Gets better and better.
It does. It does indeed.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the visual teasers we've had here are more than enough. They're not sort of, it's not just, "Ooh, that looks boring." That's it. Everything here is making it look real exciting.
Fantastical. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Thursday, anything else, or do you think?
Well, my final thought would be this: thank you to all the hosts, because it's very easy for me to come along and say, "Would you like the safari to visit?" And I don't, apart from making everybody come and a bit of publicity, that's really my share in it. That's not what happens for the hosts. They have a lot of work. They do a huge amount of preparation.
Yeah.
They worry. They stay up nights trying to get the textures just right. And and then writing and trying to figure out a way of expressing the history of their grid in a few paragraphs, and knowing that we're only going to be there a few minutes, and so they're trying to show us the maximum amount of things they can. And so all I can say is I can't believe how kind and generous you are to let us come and bother you on your grid. It's a delight. And the other thing I'd like to say is really to encourage all these hosts, come on Mal's show, do a walkthrough of your grid. Don't be shy. He doesn't bite. Well, not hard anyway. So he will really, really. This is the way to show off your grid. Come on this show, then there's a permanent record of all the lovely places on your grid that people can come and watch the video and then come and visit you. And it's just a wonderful opportunity that you, Mal, offer people. And I really hope that more hosts take advantage of the opportunity, because OpenSim is unlike any other place in the metaverses. It is original, it is free, it is independent, it is buggy, it is contentious sometimes, but it is incredibly rich in cultures, diversity, creativity. Okay, sure, we all love Second Life, it has a lot of things, but in a way it is not even a shadow to compare with the independence and imagination that goes on in OpenSim, not just in terms of the builds, but in terms of forming communities and facing up to huge challenges in technological terms and even emotional terms and political terms that are involved in forming a group across the world, sometimes global groups. We have people who form friendships around the world. We see that in Second Life too, but in OpenSim, there's so much more difficulty, and they face these difficulties and they win. And I just really admire everybody who is working hard to make OpenSim a fun place and an interesting place to visit. And I thank you all.
Wow.
Well, well said. Very well said. For sure. Absolutely.
Well, and thanks to you
Yeah,
for
I don't
bringing
do
all this
nothing.
forward. Yeah.
Well, I certainly agree that you know, we really it would be great to hear from more people who want to do this. I'm great at talking to you and putting all this sort of stuff together for a show, but I'm terrible at running around finding people and say, "Come and do my show." You know, it really needs.
So, question to you, Mal. What's the best way for people to get hold of you if they want to be on your show?
To be honest, I run, as you know, a Discord a server called Hypergrid Explorers and Creators. And, you know, we have different channels there, obviously, for different grids. Many grids, of course, have their own Discord servers these days. It's a popular platform. But that is probably the best place. You can join that, which allows you to see OpenSim events and things that are, it's, you know, robots posting, but it's fairly regular. And yeah, I am there. So, you know, once you're in that group, you just click on me and you can send me an IM, or you can even try your luck at actually offering me friendship, which might actually happen. You know, if you're prepared to wait 5 days, you might hear from me. But that actually is my preferred communications medium. We're actually using it right now for the audio part of this show. So that's really the place to come.
And another question, can I ask you this? If you don't answer right away, should people be worried?
Nah, no. Just if I occasionally I miss something, but because I actually use Discord for a lot of different servers and things like that, and messages addressed to me normally come on my desktop as notifications, so I don't miss them. But obviously, it's like emails and things these days. You don't always reply. I remember being asked once by somebody who's new to email, saying sort of, you know, well, how long do you expect it to take to get a reply from our email? And I said, well, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, and they fell off their seat. You know, they were used to the post where you wait for a week for something to get through and a week for it to come back. I said, well, no, not with email. It's instantaneous. I mean, of course, now it's all text rather. It's not even email anymore.
Well, not too long ago, it was Skype was the place to
Yeah.
be, but
Yeah.
I think I'm on Discord more than Skype. Yeah.
People can find me on Skype too. It's an open. It's just Burns Mal, Burns, and then Mal. So it's squashed as usual, but the wrong way round. just for the hell of it. So yes, you can always IM me on Skype too. And actually, I'm in quite a lot of things where you can IM me. But as I say, the not a day goes by without me sort of diving into Discord a few times just to make sure I'm reading, even the group posts from people. So yeah, that's my preferred now. But Skype is very good too. I'm always checking Skype. So the only place I don't recommend trying to find me is Facebook.
I wonder why.
Wonder why, indeed. Well, half the time I don't even get on at the moment. My portal machine here say, Mal, please log in again for calling. Well, I mean, expletive, please. No. I only did that 5 days ago, I think it was, and I
don't even think we're friends anymore on Facebook. I think you dropped me. I think you dropped me.
I wouldn't have done that. It's just that I never go in there.
I like drama.
I never go in there. What happens? I do post on music and anecdotal things there, but I don't go in there to do it. So when I'm in my browser, I literally right-click Shareaholic and say send to Facebook, and that takes care of it. I never actually go to Facebook. But and occasionally when I do check in on Facebook, people have made a comment on one of my posts, and it's a post that was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, because it's okay sending it, but of course I don't see the replies because Facebook won't allow you to connect with anything else.
Don't worry about that. I got an answer to an IM the other day. It was from 2.5 years previous.
If Facebook. Yeah.
And the answer was no, just as well. It took 2.5 years to reply.
Yeah, it really is not. I mean, I do usually have Facebook Messenger open, so people who've added me on that, it is another IM route, and for some people, some old friends who aren't in other things, I can always video call and messaging, but I don't like it. I'd rather just have Skype and Discord open and forget the others. But I tend to have the others around because everybody uses something different. But Discord and Skype are the ones I would choose. And I know from when I try to contact people, they're not like me. They don't have, Skype is always running here. So is Discord. So it's like having a phone. Anybody rings, it rings, But other people choose, don't do that. They switch power down their computers, or they close the application until they want to use it. And so I never really know, how to get hold of other people either. If they've joined my group in Skype, I know I can, if I've had them in Skype, there'll be a record and I can find them there. And some people are online all the while, others aren't. And the same with Discord, especially if they've friended me, I'll have them, but also if they're a member of the Hypergrid Explorers Creators server, then I'll have them anyway, whether I've friended them or not. So that, if I'm doing a show and I say want somebody from Appalachian Mountains Grid, whatever that may be, and I've been given a name, I usually, the first thing I normally do is I scroll down all the members of my Discord channel, server rather, and see if they're there.
So joining Discord is kind of a ticket to getting on your show in a way. It makes life easier.
It's a passport to me, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there are, if you know of another way of getting me, you can be pretty sure you'll get me in the end anyway. But as I say, the last place to try and get me is actually Facebook. Even Messenger breaks when Facebook breaks, and this message I've got up here, I can guarantee you're not going to find me on Facebook for about 2 days, because by the time I've changed my password on one device, I'm going to have to go to about 20 others, because Facebook is just, it's like a spider, it's everywhere, and then until you actually make sure every leg is working, it won't let you into any other. And every when you forget it going again, you wait 5 days and then it breaks again, and you've got to go through another hurdle. And whoever runs Facebook, nobody in that whole organization seems to understand the users. They make it, when does a platform deliberately make it as hard as possible for somebody to use it?
Yeah, but it makes it really easy to pay for adverts. So
It
I
makes
think
it, yeah, but
that may be the clue.
if you lose your users because they can't see the posts for the ads, you know, if you
Well,
eventually
that's
lose
true.
your users, you've got no ad revenue left. In fact, you know, behind the scenes, of course, Facebook is in free fall at the moment. They're losing money like and ad revenue, and they're spending a phenomenal amount still on what Mark Zuckerberg seems to think is well, his vision of metaverse, and everybody agrees that his vision of it is the possibly the one definition of the metaverse that nobody does want to see. He's got some things right, like the general description of what it could all be and how it would all come together, but he hasn't actually got a clue about. The first thing you've got to do is get a community and have underlying protocols and things like that. You can't just assume that give me 5 years and I can build my own metaverse and my own headsets and stuff like that. You can't. He's got to, you know.
But that's the beauty of OpenSim. You see how that there is a community. Not everything works. Not everything is perfect.
OpenSim is the perfect.
And yet, people are still trying to build it and trying to communicate and share their ideas and their passions with one another, and in a free way too. Nobody's in OpenSim really. There's very few people in it who still delude themselves that they're going to make money from it. Yeah. It's a place where people come to be together because they like each other. Can I just ask anybody who watches this show, can you please say what you think I look like with this avatar, this mesh avatar, who I remind you of?
We've had a
nice... I got my ideas.
It's nice. I like this avatar. I mean, it's always good to have a range of avatars you can strap on for various things.
I have to strap it on? Uh-oh.
Well, no, you know what I mean. Well, actually, it's probably as easy as strapping it on. It's one piece that you wear. It's not you haven't got to worry about the skins and the costume and stuff. I mean, I'm a one piece too, and the only things that aren't part of the one piece are my COVID mask and my hat. Oh, my glasses. Everything else is one piece, you know, so...
So that character, Thurza, is from the Telltale game called The Walking Dead.
Oh, is it?
So that would be something to keep in mind, I think.
So does this mean I get to kill zombies later?
Sure.
All right, then.
Or someone could say...
It means that they sue me for plagiarism.
Right.
Oh, well.
No, I don't think until you become Darth Vader, I don't think I'm in danger of being noticed.
That'll be next week.
Yeah. Oh, come on. A female Darth Vader, that could be interesting.
Why not? Why not?
Especially if we can record. Oh, we'll go to Lauren Tone and see if we can record
the sounds.
A female Darth Vader voice. That would be interesting.
I bet he could do it, if anybody could.
Sure he could, yeah. Yeah, it'd be whatever the same mode of distortion is that they use on the male Darth Vader. You just need to do it with a female. You'd be able to tell the difference, I'm sure. Well, usually, yeah. Musing, eh? Yeah. Well, yeah. Discord down. Just if you haven't never joined Discord, I will advertise it for you, as it literally here. You can find it at discord.com probably or something. It's easy enough to join. When I joined it, I simply found it to be an alternative to Skype. I simply added all the people I knew as friends, and I didn't actually worry about having my own server on it. You don't have to have one. But then I did, because I thought, well, I can collect a lot of things together on the server. And then eventually I started the Hypergrid creators server. And that has a, only a few new people join a week these days, but there was a big splurge at one point, and I reckon half the people working in OpenSim are in there somewhere. It's got maybe 400 or 500 members, and from what I gather, most people just read the posts from OpenSim World and stuff like that, and you can keep an eye on events hour by hour almost. So there's not that much there, but one knows that if it's required, a whole host of people are there. And you can also, it's got, whether it's personal or whether it's broadcasting a show, you can video, not only audio call, but you can do video calls, and they can be to your friends, or they can to be a group of friends, or it can be to the entire server. Obviously, you wouldn't have a voice call with 400 people on it, but I'm a member of, it's actually called the, what is it called? IMA, no, OMI, Open Metaverse Initiative, which it has a lot of developers and things working on it. And they've got lots of subgroups and subchannels, each devoted, some people are working on scripting. In fact, that group's led by Adam Frisbee, who we all know. But other people who've never heard of, and they've never heard of OpenSim for that matter, working on other interoperability ideas. So a lot of those meetings, they're actually small working groups. So they actually take place on audio and visual at once. They just all go into a voice chat, then they all switch on their videos, or better still, their screen shares, because they can share demos with the group, and they're in a shared voice call. And I sometimes think that Discord itself is indeed a virtual world of its own. Now, it doesn't have avatars or built-in simulated worlds that you can use, but if you've got one of your own, be it private or public, you can simply screen share it immediately. And I can have, I can go into Discord and I can screen share my avatar from here in OpenSim. And because we're connected in voice, I can simultaneously be talking to somebody who's screen sharing their avatar in, say, Sansar or Sciencebase, or even Second Life, which is very similar to OpenSim, of course. So it's already has all devious ways of bridging worlds, if you see what I mean. Obviously, I can't dump something from Sansar in OpenSim any more than I can dump prims from OpenSim into, well, even Second Life. But through Discord, that it opens up that whole interconnection. And talking of, well, I better not be rude, but Maria Metaworld, who's going to be on Safari on Wednesday, was actually talking recently, sort of, for some reason, she says she hates Discord and can't stand it, and I keep saying, every time I think, oh, come on, why? Don't you understand that actually that is such an important sort of way of seeing the interconnectivity of things? It's not a walking, talking metaverse you can walk around in, but it has all those facilities that actually allow for interoperability between vastly different things, because it works on the principle of screen share. I can screen share something like OpenSim, which is a standalone platform application, and somebody else can be screen sharing themselves from a web world. And, so I can be talking from OpenSim to somebody on Mozilla Hubs, for example.
Well, it certainly does make life easier if you're looking for people that you can't find in World, especially with the constant evolution of grids, where, I mean, if you think about it this year, Third Life Grid ended, Franco Grid finally ground to a halt, and Metropolis was closed. Those are three grids that had, at different times, communities, quite big communities, some of them, especially Metropolis. You think about how many people were on that grid. And when a grid closes, also Virtual Dreams, the French grid of Vladimir that we were talking about earlier. And when grids close, then all of a sudden the question is, well, where have the people gone? Well, maybe they're fine and they just have opened their own grid, or they've moved to another grid, but how do you find them? There's literally thousands of grids out there. You can't possibly, unfortunately, hypergridding doesn't have some sort of overarching communication system at all, not even remotely thought of. So the only way to find people is by joining groups like, for example, your group on Discord is a really good one, or there is OpenSim World that offers opportunities to find people. But not everybody likes OpenSim World. Not everybody likes Facebook. Not everybody likes Discord. So at the end of the day, you kind of have to belong to. If you're looking for people, you need to belong to a little bit of everything, and then and not be shy about helping people to find their friends, because
Yeah.
everybody's still out there. They're just in the ether somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. I think people, if you've made a connection with somebody down the line, right, even if you're not constantly in that platform of communication, the connection is made. So eventually, you're going to find people again if they're still, or even online. Um, I get a feed from OpenSimWorld for events, and it comes into my Discord server. So anybody on my server who's got it open will see a Discord pop up, if it will want us to switch it off, notifying them of new OpenSim events every hour or so. Yeah, and
That's good.
because I've plugged OpenSimWorld into my Discord server, which is an option. It's simply you go. It's like getting an RSS feed and plugging it in. It's not RSS, it's something else, but I mean the webhooks. So all that you can. It's like my desktop. People see my desktop, the whole of it, not the. Well, actually, let's be naughty here. I'm going to change what's broadcasting on our background screen here, and instead of you're now seeing an entire Mac desktop, even the where you can't see the bar at the top, but shortcuts to everything everywhere, really. But I mean, I arrange it, with all my popular, most used things easily accessible. And then I've got other things hidden away that I can also bring up on kind of rare occasions. And that's the way to approach it, not to copy mine, but just to come up with something of your own that, you've got to think of your desktop as your virtual world. And we're not just talking about simulations where you can move around, but we're thinking of like messaging services and all the things you can do online now. Just, put them on a desktop or two and, have everything available, like I'm trying to see what I've got in World. No, it's off the screen in World, but I've got pop-ups at the top of my screen at the moment. They come up every second. Some from Discord, but other applications. If it's Skype or even if it's Facebook Messenger, if it ever works, it will show me people I know coming online, so I know I can. You've got to fix the settings, but so it'd be like a telephone, except instead of telephoning somebody and hoping they're on the end of the telephone, well, these are mobile days, so they probably will be. But, I want to know who's online in Skype and who's online in Messenger, for example. I don't want to sort of press the button to call them if they're not going to be at home or, monitoring. So, if I can't see them online, then I send them a text message so that I can communicate with them when they are online. And it's just an organizational thing. I've always loved just fiddling with things to get things absolutely right for me. If other people like them too, so much the better. But I mean, get things working for me. And I think a lot of people, they take. I'm not even going to mention Facebook again. It probably fits in as a good example. People will take things that are offered to them without realizing that what's being offered to them is just not appropriate and they're barely touching the service. Apple and Microsoft, the moment you get one of the computers, it comes with a ready-made operating system. But nobody really is creative, actually likes the desktop on either of those systems. They want to customize it to make it theirs. And this is something.
That's right.
This is something. Even operating system people don't realize. When I'm even in Firestorm or in OpenSim, which is taking up the whole of my screen, I might have a few notifications running at the top of my screen from outside the virtual world. But inside the virtual world, I want to arrange all my pop-up menus and things in certain places. And if I'm got a stage like this, I want things in a particular place that suit me. I know where to click and stuff. And I think people, it happens a lot in OpenSim and indeed Second Life for that matter. People, they're not designers necessarily, but they like decorating. So they will find furniture and things to decorate and even buy ready-made houses rather than build their own. I like the fact that you could build your own, but it's like the the real world. Some people find a bit, buy some land and build their own cabin. Other people rent the cabin, and decorate it. So there's all that is there. But I think many people sort of they work the Microsoft way or they work the Apple way, and they don't realize that we being online, there's a lot more to it. You don't have to use Chrome. You don't have to use internet. Well, you can't use Internet Explorer anymore, thank God. But there's that
independence. You should
yeah,
try and be more independent or original.
You should think of making it your own rather than taking what is served to you on a plate. Especially as some people who I just can't mention that guy's name again. They hand you this stuff on the plate, and it is totally inappropriate. It's just useless. You can't see what you want. You can't find what you want, and you get surveillance tools all over the place. And to make things even worse, that they lock you out for no reason at all. You know who I'm talking about. Make it your own.
Yeah.
And, if something comes along and doesn't let you make it your own, so
isn't that really the open sim credo in many ways?
Absolutely.
Making it yourself and being independent, because then if a grid goes down, you just can move to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, if you go,
obviously you have to deal with the ups and downs and the bugs and the inconveniences, but at least you're free.
Yeah. Well, even if you go to, say, Sciencebase and Sansar, which are two platforms I'm reasonably happy with, you can, to a certain extent, you get your region or whatever it is, and you make it your own. And you work outwards from the place you make your own, into the greater world. And I think I'm not even going to mention what's his name again, but there are even other new platforms that are coming along, and they seem to think that the magic of getting you hooked is to have everything ready made. But I don't think, developers and things don't understand other people half the time. They don't see the consumer. They think their ready-made solution is going to be attractive to you. And sure, their principles may be attractive to you. It may be a great platform, but if you can't personalize it and make it feel like your own, even if it's just having your own house on a sim, if you can't do that, what is there to want there? You want to be part of, you want your own home, you want a community to belong to, and it takes all sorts of different forms, I hasten to add. But those are the things you want when you go to online. I mean, it's like back in the day, it was referred to as virtual homesteading. Before we even had virtual worlds, it was back in days of GeoCity and things, they called it virtual homesteading. But even back then, that was the core idea. Not to do a flashbang wallop job and then impose it on people and rely on the fact they'll say wow. You can only say wow so many times before you say boring.
Well, it's a consumer mentality, isn't it? People come in and don't have to really do anything. But not everybody has the same amount of time to spare to learn the tricks and learn the various technologies that you need to build things that you want. But that's another nice part of OpenSim, is that there are lots of people who are making things. There are people who are uploading quality, legal meshes that you can use. So you don't have to necessarily do everything yourself, but because other people are very kind and generous. But that's only because there's a community that is generous. And most of the people who give things away will tell you, the reason I give things away is when I got here, other people were generous to me.
Yeah.
So it's I'm just paying it forward. And so that's really the trick of it. It all comes back to community.
And I think the best example is that, I think you said it a while ago when we were talking about Cherry Manga. It's not only is she a great artist, but also, as you said, she is the first to jump in to help you do something.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And it makes you want to be like her to other people. It's almost a viral thing, people are good to you, you want to repay them by being good to them, or it maybe if there's nothing you can do, you can be that good person to somebody else.
Well, everybody can do something, even if it's only listen or show up and applaud when there's an event.
Yeah.
Everybody can do something. You don't have to be a blender genius.
Oh, sure.
There's lots and lots of ways you can help.
Yeah. Well, no, look at the way it happens in OpenSim too. I often say OpenSim is a sort of distant cousin of Second Life, because you can look at Second Life and it can't offer you too much freedom. It's a walled garden. But a lot of things like local book clubs will meet there. All they got to do is find a space to meet, and then they will have an account and go and meet there and just talk. Now, what do people at book clubs talk about? They just talk about a book. Maybe they share a book, tell each other what they've read in the week, and maybe they've got a joint book that they all read in the same week. I don't know. That's book clubs for you. But it's a very simple thing. It's a very simple example of how people meet in communities in a small way, not even the big town halls, And that's all open. You don't have to be an author to join a book club, frankly. I'm getting a post from Thursday saying, "Bye guys, I don't know if you can read me." Right, does that mean okay. Okay, Thursday, great to see you.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. It was fun to be here. I'm sorry I must leave you.
Yeah,
I'm being told to get off the computer.
I was diving into a rabbit hole, so you're probably safer offline than online at the moment. Okay, wonderful to see you. We will see you again very shortly, and hopefully as many people as possible will be seeing you on Wednesday, along with.
Yes, thank you both of you for letting me come and visit with you.
No, you should do it every week. That way, I'm sure of the show. Okay,
Bye, everybody.
And we'll say good night to you all, because that's the show. Thank you also to James. Good night, James.
Good night, Mal.
And good night to myself. And we will see you here soon. And join us on Wednesday. So there we go. Bye for now.